as the world has been watching President Trump's appointees, it is not about competence. It is not about the ability to be an advocate for the people and protect investors and do all that needs to be done to ensure that, the people of this country, that the Americans have someone looking out for their best interests. He has made his appointments based on loyalty. Loyalty, and that means they will do whatever he wants. And so, I consider the new public policy will be whatever Trump wants by his appointees who have been chosen because of their loyalty. So I cannot get into whether or not this appointee, the Treasury, is different from anybody else. But I expect right now that we're going to be up against appointees at every level of government that are loyal to Trump, and they're going to take this country in a whole new direction, as identified in Project 2025.
So when it comes to Scott Bessent specifically, Congresswoman, do you think the market is perhaps misplaced in its notion that he actually could be something of a balancing force for the president, a kind of steady hand, if you will, when it comes to the extent of tariffs that should be pursued, for example? You don't believe that to be true?
No, I do not believe it to be true. Again, and let me reiterate, these appointments are made based on whether they're going to do what Trump wants them to do. It is not based on any evidence that they can be independent, that they, in fact, will be looking out for the best interests of the people. And so I'm prepared. I'm prepared for whatever Trump wants them to do, and I'm prepared to fight that. I'm prepared to be able to help organize that committee, the Democratic side, to educate the public about what they're doing and what's going on. So I'm not going to back up and say we can't get anything done. We're going to continue to try and put before the American people the kind of public policy that they expect appointees and elected officials to do on behalf of the people. And then we're going to see if we can not only educate and inform, but whether or not the American people are going to understand that they now have a president of the United States of America who has no respect for the Constitution, does not care what precedent is on any subject, and that he's going to do what he wants to do. And so I'm looking for him to reveal himself as he has identified himself.
Well, Congresswoman, as you look ahead to the work you'd like to continue doing as ranking member of House Financial Services, you're going to be working with another Republican atop that committee, as there's jockeying now for the chairmanship, a number of candidates, of course, who are vying. Is there someone you'd most like to work with that you think the most productive bipartisan legislative work out of the committee could happen under?
That's a possibility, but if I identify him right now to you for the public, this probably would lessen their opportunity of getting chosen. So yes, I hope there could be someone that follows that description, but I can't tell you whom at this point.
So just one of the candidates, am I understanding, you think you could work with on a bipartisan basis of the three or four that have been floated?
Well, to tell you the truth, I could work with members from the opposite side of the aisle, pretty much in the way that I've worked with McHenry and others. But we've got to see who's willing to step up to the plate and do what is necessary to protect our investors, do what's necessary to hold on to the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau that's protecting our consumers. Any of those who can do that, I can certainly work with them.
Well, we have seen some bipartisan work coming out of the committee in this committee in the 118th Congress, including bill that advanced out of the committee and ultimately passed on the House floor, the FIT 21 Act, the market structure, crypto legislation. And Congresswoman, I wonder what you think the future is of those kinds of legislative initiatives now that Republicans won't just have control of your body, but the Senate as well.
Well, let me tell you, I've worked very closely with McHenry where we've tried to get stablecoin. Our efforts have
Hmm.
been about guardrails. We are not opposed to legitimate legislation that appears to be in the best interest of the people of this country. And there may be some crypto that would like to have guardrails. If there are guardrails that we can agree to, working with all of the entities that are interested in and a part of developing crypto if we're ever going to get there. And that means the Treasury, that means the Federal Reserve, that means the SEC, that means all of these agencies have to come together with the president on crypto in order to have something that will have guardrails and will not just be determined by the fact that companies are trying to invade all of our financial services members with large contributions, et cetera, et cetera. We know what's going on, and we think now they're going to have an opportunity to learn more about what crypto really is and how it works in this digital economy that we're involved in. So we've got a lot of understanding, a lot of searching out, and a lot of educating to do. And if we can work with anyone who's willing to do that and provide these guardrails, I'm ready. And I think some of my members are. And I do believe that some of the members who voted for the crypto legislation that you're talking about will know more now about what they voted for and be a lot more skeptical than they were when they decided that they would give it a chance, that they would go ahead and vote in ways that they didn't quite understand. But I don't think that'll be the case anymore.
Well, you just mentioned there, Congresswoman, the SEC's role in this. The chair, Gary Gensler, of course, has announced that he will be stepping down on January 20th when this new president and new administration comes in. And I wonder, given the nominees for other regulatory agencies that we have already seen coming from Donald Trump, Brendan Carr, for example, at the FCC, what concern you might have about the kind of person who could ultimately fill the shoes that Gary Gensler is stepping out of?
Well, Gensler was an expert in crypto. He taught crypto at the university, and many of those in the crypto business did not like him, did not want him because he knew
Yeah.
too much. And he wanted guardrails. And he was absolutely the one who I believe should be in position to deal with securities as we understand them. Crypto is a security, it is not a commodity. And that's what the fight is all about, commodity versus security. And I don't know who can fill those shoes, but we'll have to see.